2, and 1. Welcome to another episode of the I Am Undeniable podcast. It is your host, Alex Sundar here, and I'm here to talk about a particular topic, and that is to embrace your weird. I think it's going to be a very good topic. This is something that I've personally never ever talked about. I'm just looking at Instagram as well. What's up, guys? So we're going to really dive into it, and we're going to really talk about what this means. Now, if you're listening to this episode, if the audio sounds a little bit off or anything like that, it is because my mic, the cable actually broke, and I've actually ordered a brand new one. I just ordered it literally right before I hopped on this podcast episode, and I'm hoping it's going to be here by Thursday so I can get my audio all sorted and such like that. But life happens, we move on, and we always got to continue forward, and we always got to show up. Now, what do I mean by embrace your weird? You ever feel like you can't be your authentic self? You ever feel like if you are your authentic self, some people might think you're honestly just weird or a little crazy sometimes? Maybe you're in a position where it's like, wow, if I actually be myself every single day, maybe some of my friends or family members might not like me. And I want you to know I completely understand that perspective completely. It's something that I personally have struggled with so long, is how to just be myself, my authentic self, 24/7. But take it from me, as you go throughout this journey more of self-discovery, you'll really find that you will get better results. You'll just have a way better overall life if you just embrace your own personal weird, regardless of what people think. You're yourself all the time. And if it throws people off, they're just not meant to be your people. That's just a straight up truth. You need to find people who completely vibe with who you are. And I say this because this is actually a transition I've been going through for the last couple of years, is embracing who I am, who I really am, and really displaying that out there. And to be the God honest truth, a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like who the real Alex was. You know what I mean? I had unfortunately, I've lost a significant amount of friendships over the last couple of years because of that. And throughout this process of self-discovery, and one of the reasons why I decided to embrace my weird, which was about 5 years ago, the main reason is because I was significantly unhappy. My anxiety was through the roof. I was having panic attacks. And I actually had this panic attack at my old job when I was an in-person personal trainer. I used to work at A Good Life, and I actually had a panic attack, and I was on the floor in our consultation room for over an hour. And I knew something had to change. Like something was just off. And through self-discovery, at the time I was taking a bunch of anxiety medication. I also learned that was part of the issue, but I also learned it's just like, why am I suffering so much? And part of the reason is because like I didn't feel like I could be myself. I felt like I had to act in a certain way. I felt like I had to be a certain way every single day, right? I couldn't state my own personal opinions. I never could like voice my thoughts, and I didn't act the way I think I personally should have acted. I kind of like followed what the crowd was doing. I wanted to fit in, right? I wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted people to like me. And because of that, I did a lot of things that I personally probably wouldn't do today or act like today. So what I did is I actually eventually left that job. I started to run my own businesses and stuff like that. And I started to like voice my opinion out online. I started to be myself a lot more. And throughout that process, a lot of people didn't like that. To be frank, they didn't like what they saw. They didn't like the fact that I was doing these things. They didn't like the fact that I was just embracing who I am. And I actually lost quite a bit of friendships because of that. You know, I discovered over time that a lot of these people that I thought were my friends weren't actually my friends in the first place. They were only there because they wanted something out of me. And when I didn't conform to what they wanted, they would shame me and they would tear me apart for just being naturally who I am. Doesn't that kind of suck? You know, I've been asked that before. And to be frank, it doesn't, right? Because at this point in time, now I look back on it, I'm like, well, a lot of these people just revealed who they are. I never realized because I wasn't my most empowered self. I wasn't myself. I was clouded in the judgment with the people that I was hanging around with. The amount of times I've gotten used, the amount of times I got put in situations that they did and I had to take responsibility for. Heck, there was a particular situation at a gym where, we were hazing some of the new employees that were coming in, and I got blamed for it, but it wasn't even my idea, right? It wasn't my fault, to be honest. It wasn't, right? But I didn't have the courage to stick up to it because I wanted to stick and conform to what's going on. And that was the problem. The problem was I was not willing to speak my voice. The problem was I wasn't able to speak my truth. And the problem is that I couldn't be myself. So over the years, as I started to embrace my weird, and over the years, as I started to become more like who I really, really am, and embracing my own internal weirdness, right, and being my goofy self, the people that I thought were my tribe, my people, my friends, were not present anymore. And I felt like this ton of this anxiety just slipped off my back. I felt way lighter. I felt way happier. I had significantly more energy. Like my energy was not being sucked. You ever felt like that? You ever feel like your energy is being sucked by the people around you? Well, you might not just be around the right people. And the more I actually embrace my own inner weirdness, as I call it, embrace your weird, the more I embraced and started being myself, I started attracting like-minded people. Like-minded people like my boy Diedrich watching this live right now. I started to attract more like-minded people in my life who thought like me, who acted like me, right? I felt way more safer in there. I gained way more energy in here as well, right? Way more energy as well because I started to embrace who I am. And when you can embrace who you are, guess what else is going to happen? Things will get easier. All of a sudden, sticking to your fitness goals are way easier. All of a sudden, doing your business stuff is way easier. All of a sudden, your relationships become way more fun because of it. So the lesson that I wanted to give you guys from telling my own personal story is embrace your weird. Be authentically who you are. Because the people who are meant to be the people who really care for you, they'll love it. They'll love the weird side of you that you're afraid to show. And you'll really learn that, throughout that process of you embracing who you are, showing off who you really are, speaking your mind, you're really not as weird as you think. Probably a pretty cool person. So, embrace your weird, be authentic, and learn to thrive. Thank you guys for today's episode. Hope you guys get a ton of value. I will talk to you guys very soon, and we'll be back tomorrow for another live stream. Peace, love, and protein.